portraits are fun. I do like doing some street photography, walking around Charlotte, taking pictures of the city, especially when it was empty. Um, it was kind of um, weird to see because Charlotte's usually always something's going on. But when it was quarantine, there was no one out. But a lot of portraits are an easy go-to. I'm trying to fall in love with landscape. I think I gotta find the right crew that's been doing it really well. Doing the early morning shoots when the sun's rising, or waiting until the sun sets at the right locations. Um, but yeah, just picking up the camera, shooting whatever I can.
Listen to the vibes.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Listen to the Vibes. I have here Mr. Eric Wallace, who in his description is a polymath. Now, I know what that means, but will you want to explain that?
Basically, individual who specializes in many different areas. Somewhat like your Leonardo da Vinci, and we see it in a lot of people these days, especially with social media these days. Just branching outside of their main, 9 to 5, or their main passion, and incorporating some of their hobbies and other interests into their everyday life.
So, where'd you grow up at?
I'm from North Carolina. Grew up around here. Played sports all my life. Every single sport I can get my hands on. Except baseball, never really picked up the bat to play baseball, but it was all basketball that took me to college, Ohio State, DePaul University. That helped me graduate. Went to Seattle U and got my master's from there. And me being curious enough to play other sports and take on many different other interests took me to Australia to play Australian rules football as one of the first Americans to try out that game, kind of bridge the gap from Australia to America to try to encourage more people to watch or get interested in AFL. Played that for 3.5 years with North Melbourne Kangaroos, and came back here and played with the Panthers for football here. So, and then from there, I've been modeling, acting, and now picking up the camera as a photographer. So just a lot of hats to wear, but all manageable and all kind of play along with each other.
Yeah. So, what's like your favorite interest of all?
I was an athlete for, of course, 30 years, but the thing about sports is that window closes after a certain amount of time. Your legs can't run as fast as they used to. I just retired from football, say about a year ago now. So I've been an athlete my whole life, and playing professionally in 3 different sports and in different countries of the world has been a blessing. So,
What was that like over in Australia?
it's awesome. The people are really nice down there. Weather's nice. It gets hot in the summer. We all saw the wildfires that were blazing crazy this past year. That was kind of out of hand this year, but wildfires happen every year down there. It's really hot. Summers are great. People are great. They love their cricket and their Australian rules football. Those are 2 sports they go crazy for, as well as rugby. But it was great. I had a really good time. I think if NFL window wasn't half cracked open to come back home, I probably would have stayed down there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, what happened for you to come back to play sports here in the States?
Well, my contract ran out with North Melbourne after 3 years, and it was either stay down there and figure out another team to join or resign, or then I kind of got a little homesick, just a little bit. Then I called some of my colleagues, some of my friends that were playing in the NFL or had a chance, and some coaches I knew. I would ask them the chances I had on maybe getting a chance in the NFL, and all were positive. All were say, hey, if you can get it in front of someone, there's no reason why you shouldn't at least get a half a chance to put on the jersey. So I came back, hired a trainer, watch some videos, talk to some of my friends, and didn't know what I was doing at first. I hadn't played in football since 7th grade in
Oh,
middle
wow.
school. So I knew the sport. You watch it every Sunday, and I was a huge Panthers fan growing up. But to actually want to do what those guys do all day in day out, you could tell I was a little rough around the edges in the beginning. But I seeked out Ricky Pro, who had a gym about 15 minutes from my house.
Oh, yeah.
I went up there for about a week. He was on vacation, but I kept coming back, seeing if he was in, to see who was in. And finally, he was in one day and walked in the office and said, "Hey, I want to play. What's up?" And, he said, "Come back tomorrow, work out, see if you're, any good." He said, "If I told him I ran a 6.5 40, and he's like, "You can run that 6.5 40. I'll call the Panthers for you."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I ran 240s for him, ran some routes, and called the Panthers for me. So then Panthers gave me a workout the day before training camp. This is 2016, and day before training camp, and said, "Hey, we're gonna sign you. Be in South Carolina tomorrow for training camp." So
So I don't want this to sound like a rude question, but when you mention that you play professional sports, do you think that people want to like hang out with you just because you were in professional sports, or you find people are being genuine?
Sometimes, I'm 6'7", weight fluctuates, so I say about 270. So I can be a little intimidating, but you always get the cliche questions: how tall are you? Do you play sport? What sport you play? What team you play for? So now you get there's a little bit of a attraction of people around the athletes. So
Yeah, I hear you. Well, I grew up a huge football fan, and
hmm
I'll probably watch football until the day I die. I always told my wife I want to go out watching my Cowboys, eating shrimp, and having sex. That's the way I want to die.
yeah, my dad's a Cowboys fan, so
Sounds like
yeah,
a smart man.
yeah.
Well, I've always been a Cowboys fan, but I will say I'm probably dating myself. I was an Oilers fan growing up, and the Panthers weren't a team until I was in my 20s. So, yeah, I'm an old fart. Now, the reason why I asked that is, I meet so many people that in their professions, like comedians and actors and all these people, and it's like people only want to know about, that part of their life. And there's so much more to people than just what their profession is. And,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I do a podcast, but that's not my whole life.
hmm
My wife and my kids, my grandkids, that's my life. And my interests are like art and things like that. So, what are your interests, one, and number two, what are the things you really want to be known for after you pass on?
Um, Honestly, I want to be known as one of the main people who voiced continuing being, to develop more polymaths in our society. Like you said, you got, you run a podcast, you do that, but there's other things we all have interest in. For me, of course, it was sports. Professional sports takes up a lot of time, but there's a lot of things that people don't know about those professional athletes you see on every Saturday or Sunday, or there's a lot of interests that they have that would probably be juxtaposed to what you would think they like.
Oh, yeah.
Um, I think two prime examples I like giving are there are two NFL players that are full-time opera singers, and it's one of those things of like, just because you do this every day all day doesn't mean you don't have those type of interest or talents. And I like for people to cultivate those, second and third talents or hobbies that they really like, and who knows? Maybe it'll add to your main passion,
Yeah.
or it may help you find a new passion that you didn't even know you really, really love. Um, always, I really don't like when people say, "I wish I did," "I wish I could," or "I wish, you know, I could be in this." Or here's the thing: there's resources to do that these days now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like you can. You're not necessarily going to wake up tomorrow and you say you want to. I wish I could play guitar. You're not going to wake up tomorrow and be Jimi Hendrix. You're not. But you can go buy a guitar and learn how to play on literally YouTube. You can learn stuff basically for free these days.
Oh
And
yeah.
news to say that that doesn't grow into something you can do at like a coffee shop every Thursday or something. And next thing you know, you're performing and doing something that's outside of your, maybe you're an accountant all day, but Thursday night you're on stage playing guitar. But I just like to cultivate people's second and third interests and get them thinking about doing other things outside of that one box they put themselves in.
And so, when you went to school, what were you taking when to like degree wise?
Well, I graduated from DePaul in finance, and I graduated from Seattle U with my master's in public administration.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and how is that helping you to help other people?
Well, it does help with, well, one thing it does, it disarms you saying that I'm an athlete who's educated. There's always a stigma of athletes aren't educated or smart, which is sad, which I hate. But it's a disarmament. It's like, okay, he's educated, played professional sports. It's kind of one of those things like, oh, I didn't know that. And that's actually kind of one of my favorite comments I usually get a lot. I didn't know you. I didn't know you did this. I didn't know you were that as well. It's one thing I love hearing as a polymath myself. Um, I didn't know you modeled. I didn't know you were a photographer. I didn't know you were in this movie. I didn't know spoke. So um, yeah, I mean, I like. Um, I just like I said, I just like cultivating those second and third hobbies.
Right. And so, you got to talk about being a model.
Mm.
I mean, you have to do that. Come on.
Well, that started in Australia.
Hmm.
I was about, let's say, about 60 pounds lighter, running every day, playing Australian rules football. So the body was a little more chiseled, I guess. And my agent came to me and said, 2 times the undergarment performance uh, clothing brand, we're looking for new models or sports models to model their stuff. And I said, yeah, I'll do it. And from there, that's ever since 2012, 2013,
Hmm.
I've been, comfortable in front of a camera. So I came back here um, and met my mentor, Leon Craig. Um, he was a model, he'd been a model for 30 years, 30 some odd years, and he connected me with DXL. And I've been with DXL for about 3 years now.
Oh, sweet. So you
Yeah,
should have came to me. I could have helped you model.
exactly. Would have cut out a couple years.
Even on my best day, I couldn't. But anyways, so all right. So now you played professional. You in sports. You said you were in a movie.
Yeah, I've been a couple of projects. Got some IMDb credits, but probably the coolest one, the biggest bragging right, is Avengers Endgame. That was fun.
Well, I had to take a second look when I looked it up because when I saw Avengers Endgame, I'm like, wait a second, is this the same guy that I'm talking to?
No, I don't think I had that much screen time, but it was real. It was awesome to be on set though, to see behind the scenes of a major Disney Marvel production, to see how big of a project they really put on, and they bought out the entire Pinewood Studios campus basically. And I did get to meet the Russo brothers. That was cool to meet them on set.
Oh wow.
But it was just a different level of some of the projects I had worked on before then, and still probably one of the coolest to date. So definitely want to do more with Disney's and Marvels because their movies are cool, and I do enjoy the comic book. So
Yeah, you sound like me. I
hmm
must have a theme going on because I had someone on my show the other day that was in Age of Ultron.
mm,
And I mean, granted, it was a small part, but still, I mean, hey, you
yeah,
got to be on freaking set of
it's one of those
Avengers.
things. It's one of those things you do for free because it's just you want to be a part of the project, and it's an experience.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
And
I would.
I see the Shazam poster in the back. So
Oh, you
yeah,
see, my Zachary Levi. Yeah,
yeah,
he lives here in Austin,
nice.
and we got to meet him at a Comic-Con here, and him and Danny Trejo were in the same building, so I got to hang out with both of them, which was pretty freaking awesome.
Not bad.
Now, I will have to say, I think the thrill of my life was I got to meet Stan Lee,
hmm
and I got to meet the Fonz, Arthur Fonzarelli,
Yeah,
Henry Winkler, and also got to hang out with Adam West and Burt Ward about a couple months before Adam West passed away.
yeah.
Which, I've met a lot of people, a lot of awesome people, but it's something about my comic book and that
I mean, it's a large community. We all like to read up on the superheroes.
it's amazing is because as a teenager, in high school, that kind of thing, if you said you liked comic books, you were like the outcast, the
Yeah.
biggest nerd, and now it's kind of mainstream, acceptable, and so cool.
That was like if you hadn't seen the new Avengers movie, what are you doing?
Right.
Yeah. What are you
Well,
even watching?
and believe me, I watch all the YouTube videos and I read up on all that stuff, all the new stuff that's coming, and like Prince Namor is coming into the
hmm
MCU, and
Yeah.
Spider-Man is back for good. The X-Men, the Fantastic Four is all coming back to the MCU. So yeah, I'm geeking out. I told my wife, I said, I don't care. I'll be 80, 90 years old, and as long as I'm still kicking, I'm going to watch those movies.
Yeah. Me too.
So, but
Same.
I'm a lot closer to that than you are.
Nah, not at all.
So, are you a family man?
Not my own yet, but definitely I am. It's very important centerpiece in life, as it should be. But yeah, one day though.
I got a couple of daughters I can introduce you to.
Down in Texas.
Yep, down here in Texas.
All right.
So, was you a North Carolina or South Carolina fan when you was growing up?
UNC. I was a huge UNC fan. I had the chance to go there for basketball. Um, Instead, chose to go to Ohio State. But yeah, I grew up going to some of the Carolina games, Carolina Duke games. Watching. It was more when I was coming up and was really serious about basketball. It was Rashad McCants, David Noel, Ty Lawson. Those guys were at Carolina, and but ever since Jordan went there, ever since I knew Jordan went there, I've been a fan of Carolina, Vince Carter, those guys.
I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not a huge Carolina fan, but one of my friends from high school was the linebackers coach for the Gamecocks, and when Steve Spurrier was there, so
Mm-hmm.
that was when I was rooting for a Carolina team.
I mean, Spurrier was a good coach.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I loved it when he was in Florida, and then
Mm-hmm.
moved on. Did the Redskins for a while, and then back to college. But
Yeah,
so, how did you like Ohio?
it was cool. I was a freshman there. I only went there for 1 year before I transferred to DePaul. But it was a big campus. It's kind of nothing much else to do outside of, college in Columbus. But, every Saturday during football season, about 105,000 people at the stadium. Basketball games were really fun. But yeah, it was really fun playing at Ohio State.
Yeah, I got to go to Ohio once. My wife and I went for our honeymoon, of all places, to Mansfield. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with Mansfield or not, but the Ohio State Reformatory is there, where they filmed Shawshank Redemption and all that. Well,
Nice.
Okay, this is a little off topic, but I got to go and do a hunt with the ghost hunters there. So yeah, that's my claim to fame.
I do watch some of those shows. They're entertaining.
So, are you big into ghost hunters and all that kind of stuff?
Not that big, but I'll put it on whenever I'm flipping through it, and hopefully turn it with something.
Well, I have been privileged to actually make friends with these guys, and that's on the new show, and I'm not going to plug myself on this. I'm sorry. This is your time. This is your time.
No, those shows are cool though.
Well, anytime you come to Texas, if you want to go on an investigation, you're more than welcome.
Hey, I might hold you that one.
Hey, the door is open. You got my email and everything. All you got to do is give me a holler. You're more than welcome. So, what else is going on with you?
With everything going on, most of the entertainment side of things have been postponed, like photo shoots, movie shoots are all postponed, pushed back. But picked up a camera, started really just taking photos of a lot of stuff, putting on the photographer hat now.
So, what's your favorite subject to photograph?
Portraits are fun. I do like doing some street photography, walking around Charlotte, taking pictures of the city, especially when it was empty. It was kind of weird to see because Charlotte's usually always something's going on. But when it was quarantine, there was no one out. But a lot of portraits are an easy go-to. I'm trying to fall in love with landscape. I think I gotta find the right crew that's been doing it really well. Doing the early morning shoots when the sun's rising, or waiting until the sun sets at the right locations. But yeah, just picking up the camera, shooting whatever I can.
You get up in the mountains a lot?
Not a lot. I'd like to though, because I like the photos that I see from other photographers.
I will say that was probably my favorite part of going to the Carolinas, was going up in the mountains.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, man, you got some cool. I did go to Linville Falls. I think that was the first time I was able to capture some landscape photography. There's a Crowder's Mountain around here that a lot of people have been to. I haven't been there yet. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's just picking up a camera, shooting whatever I can on the day. So.
It's nice when you find another passion that you can be so into, because some people, for me, example is, I've worked in the water department for 20 some odd years, and I retired from there. I have health issues that I was not able to keep working, but you think, that's all that's your life is over. Man, mine's just begun. Like you were talking about the whole getting on YouTube and learning new stuff. Yeah. When I do editing and stuff on these videos, I didn't know how to do this 2 months ago. And now I it doesn't take me nothing. I don't even have to look anymore. I just get on here and I can do it.
There's someone teaching something. Yeah.
You can always learn. I mean, I'm in my 50s and
Hmm.
I still learn every day.
A lot of life.
Still a lot of life
The
left.
photography hat, that was brought on about, from me being a model and just being really good friends with the two main photographers of DXL, and just seeing how much they really liked taking photos. And before they not like taking photos with, like with your phone, and making sure, trying to capture a cool photo with your phone. And I think we all try to. But I started to see and really study them and see just how much they really liked taking photos, and looking at some of their work outside of the print stuff that we do for DXL.
Mm-hmm.
And I just asked them one day, hey, if I want to be a photographer, what do you think I should do? They said, get a camera, get one of these entry level ones, and shoot for a week and a half. You'll know if you like it or not. And then I picked it up, shot, loved it right away, and been upgrading since, and really learning since then. I'm always on YouTube listening to other photographers, gear reviews, lighting, and just techniques here and there. So back to YouTube.
Well, some people think that all it takes is for you to just to point the camera and shoot, and there's a
Yeah.
lot more to it. I mean, like you said, the lighting and the angles, and just that eye for seeing that certain shot.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's a lot to it. I think one thing that did help is being in front of it for so long. And then getting behind it, you get to see the mechanics of of how to make the shot works. And it really it tests you to to step outside the auto function on the camera, and start to see what works and what doesn't. And even if it doesn't work, see if you can kind of make that your own style here and there. But it's a challenge that I've tried to accept now, to push like my photography forward against what everybody else is doing. And that's a challenge what all photographers are doing too. But because phones these days are just as good as a $3,000 camera.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
But the challenge is, how do you tell a story with your tools that you have, your camera that's in your bag? How do you tell a story? How do you push the industry forward?
So let me give you a hypothetical question.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you've met some young man, some young lady that needs mentoring, and you got that privilege of taking them under your wing and teaching them. What are the lessons in life that you want to teach them, and how are you going to give them that vision to move forward?
I think there's a lot of pressure, definitely in our society at a young age, to kind of know what you want to do. And I've always been fighting against that grain, because I'm 31 years old, and some can argue that I still don't even know yet. But I probably, and then when I go speak to younger audiences, I do compare it to, it's like walking down a school hall.
Mm-hmm.
We get fixed in our brain that we're going to go to the end of the hallway and go out the exit door. But we don't want to ignore the fact that there are 10 doors left and right open, with teachers inside, with information, with life experiences, with new friends, new acquaintances, new communities that we can learn from. And always bring it back to Leonardo da Vinci. He's known as the polymath. He's known as one of the greatest painters or artists of our time, but he contributed in so many different other areas. And the reason he was such a good painter, he had a knack and a passion for painting. Of course, he was really brilliant with the strokes of the brush, but it was his curiosity in so many different other things in just everyday life, and slowing down and appreciating life and how things worked, or why things worked, or why is this a certain way. He would write down his notes. He'd write down crazy, arbitrary, trivial, nonsense notes. Like, why would you want to know something? Why would you want to know that? But it was that curiosity in him following up and trying to get that information is what helped him sit down later in life to create one of the greatest paintings ever. Because by the time he was painting Mona Lisa, he had already seen like depth of field in so many different other ways and written it down in his notes. He had already seen the way like he cut open cadavers and studied the inside of the face. He had already seen how the muscles should work here and there, how the optical nerves should be going. So when he sat down to paint Mona Lisa, he had already seen it all, and it was just, yeah, okay, yeah, just painting, whatever, yeah. So he turned a insignificant woman, because Mona Lisa wasn't anyone of royalty, wasn't anyone of much importance, but he turned her into a timeless painting that we're still looking at 500 years later.
Right. No
And
kidding.
so what I would say, or mentor a young one to, is take in as much information as you can, and don't necessarily close the door to new experiences or new information, or a different way of thinking. Especially in today's world, we got so many different people, and it's such a small world. The way social media makes it is it's so small. We can get information quickly. We can see how another person thinks within a second.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you believe that, or you like that, or you retweet that, or you support this. It's kind of like you can see different aspects of life different ways, and it's a small world now. But I'd say don't cut your brain off to different information, different perspectives, different experiences, another person's experience. I always say, hey, I always believe someone's experience, man, until proven wrong. I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, yeah, all right. You saw a ghost walk. You saw a ghost walk down the hallway. Cool. All right. I'm not gonna call you crazy because I wasn't there.
Right.
I was not there. So, yeah, I mean that's probably what I'd say. Just take a look at those doors while you're walking down the hall.
Well, I could say that I didn't grow up in the best environment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, by no means did I have it really, really bad, but my neighborhood got bad as I got a little older, and gangs moved in, that kind of thing, and I could have easily fallen into that. And I see some children that I don't know, it's like a status to be, to act a certain way, and and then they want to blame that environment for why they're not successful. But I can tell you 1,000 stories about people that grew up in a lot worse conditions than I ever saw.
Yeah.
Now they're successful people. How would you handle that situation if you had a child in that environment?
And I tell them about my story. I mean, I'm not one from the worst. Of course, I had two parents that loved me. They're still together. They did all they could to, um, you know, give me the best life I could, and help that I can go to college for free. But I know that there's a lot of circumstances and realities that aren't kind to the children, that aren't kind to the present. That's not going to help the brightest future. But like you said, there's a lot of stories that tell rags to riches, and riches is all subjective. We're not talking about being a multi-billionaire. We're talking about living a happy, successful life from hell, basically. In that situation, I literally just say, hey, this is your story. And I can tell you 100 stories of, we see movies all the time. We got the Chris Garners, like Pursuit of Happiness. You got LeBron James, who came from homelessness to LeBron James. Eric Thomas, one of the best motivational speakers, from homelessness to millionaire. It's not all about money, but it's the fact that they didn't give up regardless of their circumstance. And they made something out of nothing. And I hate that has to be some people's stories. I don't want, I think LeBron James said it in a commercial. It was like, it'd be great if humble beginnings were eliminated. It'd be great. Why can't we get to that point where no kid is having to come from homelessness to, success? Why can't all kids just have a good, happy upbringing? But like I said, there's hundreds of stories, and I think it's just keeping that individual motivated, giving them something to work towards, and finding appreciation of what you do have. And it could be someone outside of the family, if the family is even there or broken. It could be like in some sports, some athletes cling to a coach that saved their lives. It gave them a place to sleep sometimes, gave them a place to escape, a gym from being on the street sometimes. A lot of times that's a professional boxer's stories. Like, I was homeless, I was fighting for no reason, and found the gym and started fighting, and that saved my life. Instead of just fighting for no reason, I was fighting for, to feed my children. The thing is just giving them something to cling to and helping them appreciate what they do have, even if it's almost nothing.
Very good.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And I do see people that have come up, in privileged homes that have turned out really bad. So, it's all about the choices that you make in this life. It's not your environment. It's what you decide to do in your mind.
Yeah.
I can tell you how many kids that I knew that were, well-to-do, nice, rich families, lived in the best houses and had the best clothes and, best education, but they decided to turn to doing things that they shouldn't have been doing, drugs, alcohol,
Also, kind of like a call to arms, also find it a responsibility on not the LeBron Jameses, like you and I, like, people doing everyday stuff, to be, your role model, even though you don't want to be. We all are.
Yeah.
Because someone could be watching you like, okay, that's my definition of success. Have my own podcast, having daughters and granddaughters, and sometimes that's all I want. Someone's watching that, and having platforms or having a voice. Everyone doesn't have to have a podcast or go live on Instagram all the time, but sometimes it's being available when the time arises. And sometimes we can get, and of course we're all guilty of it. Sometimes we're so wrapped up in ourselves. Sometimes we miss that opportunity to be bigger than ourselves for someone else. I think it's, and I kind of, in a way where it circles back to Da Vinci, just being present. He was able to always be present in his current, and been asking questions and figuring out, why and where and what and who. If we were able to do that these days, because now we take a lot of things for granted. A plane taking off the ground is normal for us now. But when I sit on the plane, I still had that epiphany moment of like, this is amazing.
Yeah,
this is a huge metal contraption going super fast and staying in the air for a long time, and I'm on the other side of the country in an hour or two. So
at one point they thought that the concept of man flying in a machine was absolutely bonkers. There's no way it could happen, and now it's nothing.
Yeah, but we can be more present and just kind of appreciating what we do have, or where we are. I think that'll, in a way, clear up our vision and help us be the role models that we didn't even know we were.
Yeah. Well, for myself, like with the whole social media thing, I found that I was getting into these arguments with people over politics and this, that, and the other, and I really opened my eyes up to the fact that, you know what, there's a lot more important things in this world to sit around and argue about.
Yeah.
And in order to be a success in the things that we do, when you do have people looking at you, is you got to go back and you got to clean that stuff off of your social media. So I went back, I got rid of all of it, and I refuse to get in. I don't care how upset a post might make me reading from somebody else. I refuse to get in on that. Yeah. And I used to be an alcoholic. I actually had a heart attack from too much drugs and drinking and all that stuff, and my wife had left me, and by the grace of God, I got custody of my kids because, well, she was a little off her rocker, but I had to clean up my whole life, or I wouldn't have my kids right now, and I wouldn't have the relationship that I have with them. If there's another kid out there, or even an adult, that happens to look at this and say, you know what, if you can do it, I know I can do it. Because I was bad. I ain't gonna lie, I was bad.
Yeah, we all just got our own different journeys.
That's right. Well, sometimes you get those precious metals have to go through the fire before it becomes what it becomes.
Yep, diamonds only made from pressure.
Exactly. Well, sir, I appreciate your time, and
I appreciate you having me on.
If people want to follow you or get in contact with you, how do they go about doing that?
Of course, on Instagram, that's polymathic Wallace. Twitter, that's polymathic EW. Everything polymath basically, but yeah, I'm always just got a polymath t-shirt on somehow, or got my camera in my hand, or somewhere taking photos with DXL.
Well, I'll tell you, I appreciate you coming on and sharing this information with us. And anytime you want to come back, you got anything new going on, man, you hit me up.
Awesome. Will do.
I believe that the spirits have brought us together.
Yeah, I believe in that too.
And so thank y'all for joining us, and I hope you've taken something with you to help you along your journey. And come back and join us for another episode, and we'll catch you the next time.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Listen to the Vibes. You can catch us on Buzzsprout or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook at The Vibes Broadcast Network